I'm going to show you how you can use PowerPoint to make flowcharts for algorithms. So you'll see that I've got an example of one that I've done here. And in this example, this is about painting a wall. So at the start and at the end, we have something called a terminator, which we use with a rounded rectangle. They always say start and end. And then here we've got a rectangle which is called a process. So these are all the things that you do. So you'll see it says dip brush into paint, and then another process, move brush backwards and forwards, and to add paint to the wall. Now these are all joined with arrows which are called connectors, and then here we have what's called the decision. So we have a question to answer. Is there any paint left on the brush? And you'll see we've got a connector that says yes, and then it says keep painting the wall. Have you painted the entire wall? Another decision, and then yes, and then end. You'll see that there are some connectors here that loop back. So these are called elbow connectors, where they actually loop back and they don't go in a straight line. So let's just add a few things and let's see how we get on. So if I just go to a blank slide, and I'm going to go to Insert, Shapes, and then you'll see I've got my recently used shapes up here, but down here we've got the flowchart. So I can look on there, we've got the process, I've got an alternate process, and if I look along here it says terminator, so I'm going to click on there. So I've clicked on the terminator, so now I can drag this out. I'm trying not to make it too big so that it's not going to take up too much room, and move it to where I want, and if I double click it I can just write in it. So that's quite nice and easy to add to that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put a process. So I'm going to repeat that. So go to shapes, and then I can see I've got mine up on my recently used. I could go down to my flowchart. So again, I'm just going to double click inside it, dip brush in paint pot, and then move that to where I want it. And then I can go back again and go to my shapes and go to a connector. Now here you'll notice that as I move over this connector, it draws a line, and if I just move this out of the way, let's just delete that and show you that again. So if I go to Insert and I go to Shapes and go to the arrow, as I move over you'll see these dots appear, this grey dot. So I can click on that first grey dot, and as I drag it down a dot will appear below, and then that just connects it up nicely. I can make these lines thicker if I want, so I can click on them and I can go to shape outline. I can change the colour. If I want it thicker I can go to weight and make it thicker, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I can also change the colours of these of my flowchart symbols as well. So I can go here and I can change the shape fill. So if I want to fill it with a different colour or with none at all, I can do that. But I'm just going to carry on doing this. So you can see now that I've added a decision underneath. Is there any paint left on the brush? And I've also done a connector. So I need to use another connector now, because if there is no paint left on the brush, I want it to loop back up here to dip brush in paint pot. So I'm going to go to Insert again and go to Shapes, and I'm going to go down to the lines, but this time I'm going to go to an elbow connector. So I'm going to click on the elbow connector, and these helpful dots appear again. Click and drag it out, and then this can just be a little bit fiddly the way that I want it to go. So I just have to move it around. You'll see that that's perfect. That's the way that I want it to go, but to start with it went like this. And it was in the wrong way, so you just need to move it around, move it up a little bit until you get to where you want it to go. I can click on the line and then drag this arrow out if I want to take more space, and then I can add my text box. So I can come up here, or I can go to Insert and go to text box, and then just click there and then say no. So I can add that. Oh, that's a bit silly there. I'll just have to drag that out to make that look a little bit better. So I can add that onto it there, and I can keep adding all the different elements that I want onto my drawing as I go along until I get to something that's a bit more complex like this. So it might be an idea that you actually sketch out what you want it to look like before you start. Now you can add titles just by adding a text box, making it bigger. I'm sure you know how to do that, but I can also add images. If I go to insert and online pictures, built into PowerPoint, there's the ability to search for copyright-free images. So I could go to Paintbrush. Let's see what I get if I go to Paintbrush, and I can choose one of these. I think that's more of a decorating brush, isn't it? So if I click on that, it puts this on the page. I can make it smaller, move it over there, so I've got a little bit of decoration that can sit alongside it. Now, one of the first things that I did was I saved my work. My version of PowerPoint, once I've saved it, auto saves all the way through. Yours might do, but it might not. So it's a good idea to keep saving your work. The other thing that you can do when you're finished is on PowerPoint, you don't actually have to save it just as a PowerPoint file. I could save this as a picture. I could save it as a PDF. So all I do for that is go to File and then Save a Copy. And then when the box pops up, excuse me, when the box pops up, I just choose the option that I want. So for example, if I want a PDF, I can choose a PDF there, or I might come down and choose a JPEG if I want an image.